Hey folks, Ariel Baruch here out of Sierra Cast TV studio in central New Jersey, and today we're going to talk about cash out refinance for home loans. And I want to tell you a little story about the person who is a serial investor. He invests in real estate. He has a good amount of income, and he's really building his essentially foundation for his future income when he retired from his main job. So the person is purchased the property. It was in a poor condition. It requires repairs. He purchased it on a seller financed loan. Essentially, somebody just said, "Okay, I'll sell you the property," and the person who sold the property actually financed it. So that was it's called seller financing. The investor paid somewhere around 40,000 for the property, and then he invested money to fix the roof, fix the appliances, fix the floor, paint it, redo the cabinets. I mean, it was basically the whole thing had to be fixed. It was a townhome in South New Jersey, and he accomplished that within a few months, 3-4 months. The work was done, and then he said, "Okay, well, let me do cash out refinance." So essentially, what he did, he invested, let's say, roughly 40,000, and then he invested another 40 or 50 to repair the property, and then he said, "Okay, let me appraise the property." So the appraiser came in, appraiser looked at the property and said, "Property is worth roughly 134,000." And then the bank said, "Okay, well, we can do cash out refinance at 75% LTV." LTV is a loan to value. That's very typical. The bank typically will use those numbers, so and that would be considered kind of upper amount that bank is willing to lend on investment property. In this specific case, it's investment property. After it was repaired, the person rented it out because the property was in such a good condition. It was absolutely no problem renting it out. So appraisal came in at 134,000. 75% of that is 100,000. To be specific, is 100,000 and 500. So that's 75% of the appraised value, 134,000. And then the investor said, "Okay, I want all the money." And the bank said, "Okay, we can lend up to 75%." So which is the bank said, "Okay, we'll lend you 100,500, and then you can see the breakdown here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go through the numbers so you have an idea how it works, what it is, and in case you want to do cash out refinance, you'll have a better idea like what are the numbers go into this. These are actual numbers. I copy numbers from the proprietary software we use called Encompass. I copy it here, so there is no private data, no name of the borrower, but at least you have an idea how these numbers work. The formulas in this Excel spreadsheet are the same as we use in Encompass software, but you can see clearly and it kind of flows through. So this is a townhome in South New Jersey. So the property tax is roughly 3,000. The property insurance is called, also sometimes called home insurance or hazard insurance, is $730. The interest rate for this specific loan, because it's investment property, is a little bit higher than if it would be a primary residence. In this case, it's 3.75%. The person did have very good credit. When bank look at the credit, bank look at 3 credit scores and chooses the middle one, but the person did have a good credit. So and for investment properties, the rate was higher. This specific loan was closed in June 2020, so at that time that was a fairly good interest rate for investment property. Fee to obtain interest rate, reduced interest rate, was at 2.25%, and this also is called discount points. And the reason why a person had to pay this 2.25% discount point is because there are multiple factors going to this. First, when somebody wants to cash out at the highest possible amount, in this case 75% loan to value, that increases the risk of the loan. So that factors into this 2.25%. It's a cash out. That's another risk factor. And then the third risk factor is this specific property is investment property. It's not a primary residence or secondary home. So all three combined, in this specific case, person had to pay 2.25% as percent of loan amount extra as a fee. So so the breakdown of monthly payment is principal and interest $465, monthly property insurance $60, monthly property taxes $246, and altogether monthly payment is roughly $770. Charges for a chosen roughly $2,200. The origination charges, those are fairly standard. Each bank, most banks and mortgage companies will charge this fee. There's a lot goes into underwriting a loan. There is a loan originator who work with the borrowers, but then there's also a loan processor, there's a loan underwriter, and typically it goes in circles, especially if a person is a serial investor and has a lot of paperwork to go through. Many times underwriter will just circle back and say, I need this additional piece of information, I need another piece of information. It can go several rounds before actually everything is finalized. Interestingly, in this specific case, the reason why a person was able to get 3.75% interest rate is because he took the property out of LLC, transferred back to his name, did the loan, and this allowed the person obtain lower interest rate. Otherwise, the interest rate would be higher. So just keep this in mind. If property is an LLC and if a person is doing it as investment property, the interest rate may be higher, but in this specific case, person was able to take it out of LLC, transfer to his name, and get low interest rate. So the origination charges for the loan, there is services borrower can shop for, and this is services borrower cannot shop for. So there's appraisal fee that's essentially based on who mortgage or bank is working with in terms of the appraisal companies. Typically, there are certain rules that go into it. So this fee is essentially assigned by the mortgage company. So the borrower just have to pay it, typically pay upfront. There's a title review fee. That's another fee that typically lender will have its own attorney review all the paperwork before loan is closed. And then the services that borrower can shop for, in this specific case, is a title company. So it can be title company, it can be attorney, closing attorney, but this borrower chose to work with the title company. The title company, he just followed the recommendation of the mortgage company. Mortgage company said, okay, well, we'll use this title company. So this were actually the fees. So there was a electronic documentation fee. There was lender's title insurance policy that protects the lender. In case something goes wrong, if somebody shows up several months later and say the property belongs to them, this is really what this insurance policy is for. So if something goes wrong and somebody shows up and say property belongs to them, the insurance company will pay the money back to the lender. There's a municipal searches fee, there's a notary fee, settlement fee, examination fee, and some other fees, title search fee, abstract fee. So all these fees really depend on your specific circumstances and where you are, your municipality, your county, your state. So all these fees will be different. It also depends on how the title company does its work, but in general, these are the kind of fees you can expect. There are government fees. So there's a recording fee, deed recording fee, mortgage recording fee, and then there was one specific thing. This was around COVID-19 conundrum where things were closed, offices were closed, so the borrower decided to borrower actually asked the title company handle this quit claim deed, transferring property from LLC to borrower's name. So that's where this $66 fee come from. And then there are things like prepaids. So there are prepaids and there are reserves. So prepaids essentially provide some things that the borrower has to pay in advance. So for example, the hazard insurance, the property insurance, borrower has to pay 12 months in advance. At least this is how it works in New Jersey. So in this specific case, it was $730. And then there was the township taxes. The borrower had to pay upfront for three months of taxes, and then there was a prepaid interest for 16 days. Is because the property was closed roughly in the middle of the month, so the borrower had to pay for the remaining days within that month, the prepaid interest. And then there are reserves. So for the reserves, the borrower had to pay for the property insurance 4 months, and then the borrower had to pay 4 months for the taxes. and that's it. So in this specific case, why is it 4 months? Is because it depends on the type of loan. For example, this is, in this case, this is investment property. It's not a primary residence. So the mortgage company said, okay, well, you have to pay for 4 months of the property insurance, hazard insurance, and 4 months of the taxes. Some other fees. So total closing costs roughly 9,400. The bank paid off the existing lien, which was roughly 35,000, and then the before closing date, the borrower already paid for the hazard insurance and appraisal fee, so it was roughly $560. So all in all, total deductions from cash out to the borrower was 43,000. So roughly 100,000 minus 43, 100,500 minus 43,580, we get cash to borrower at closing 56,000. So this whole story is interesting, is because essentially what the investor was able to do, he bought property at significantly lower price, let's say $40,000, and then he was able to invest $50,000, and then he was essentially able to get whatever money was invested in the property, he got it back. But now he owns the property, and then he's gonna have a recurring monthly income. The property is essentially new. It was pretty much everything in it was repaired, repainted, and fixed. So he has the property, and he made really good deal on this property. Whatever money he invested, he got back, and now he has the property and has a recurring income. This specific property was rented for more than $1,000 a month, so he has a recurring income of $1,000 a month. That will pay for the mortgage payment, because the mortgage payment, monthly payment is 700. Monthly mortgage payment is $772. So and then he will have some money left over. So that's obviously the mortgage payment will pay down the equity, pay down the principal balance. So the investor will build up the equity in the property. So all in all, it was a great deal for this specific investor, for this specific property, and this is an example how people can do cash out refinance. I showed you example with the investment property, but the same thing can be done with your personal property. For example, if you own a home and you have some equity, and you have significant amount of equity in it, you can also do something similar. You can do cash out refinance, and especially if you can borrow money at low interest rate, and which is a good time to do right now in 2020. And then you can use money for something else. Maybe invest in your business, maybe invest in pay for the college tuition for your children, or for some other things. Okay, so hopefully you found this useful. If you have questions, please comment below, let us know. You can reach me by calling me or sending a text message at 609-222-1222. Again, my phone number is 609-222-1222. Or you can reach out to my office in Robbinsville, which is Contour Mortgage out of Robbinsville. You can use Google Maps and you'll quickly find it. Okay, so thank you for your attention. Feel free to comment, ask questions, and let us know what other topics you're interested in. And we'll be more than happy to research those topics and prepare another video for you. Thank you.